Good morning. Welcome to the Grace to Recover, and welcome back. I apologize. I have been moving, and I'm filming today on my new patio. You can see my beautiful Alaska mountains in the background. Hopefully, the lighting is a little bit strong, but I've missed being with you guys, and I'm hoping that you'll send me an email. You can go to the website, thegracetorecover.com, and find the little email me spot, or you can make a comment down below. Today we are going through Recover, continuing our journey in Recover in Color. This is a year-long program, one lesson per week, a short lesson. Each week we'll do one lesson. So in 1 year's time, we'll go through this workbook. Oh, that looks kind of funny. My friend spilled coffee. I'll show you this side. So it's not that big of a workbook, and you can do it in 1 year's time. We're on lesson number 15 this week, called Check Your Emotional Email. And this is the drawing that I actually partially colored that. So you'll be coloring that. And there's also some talk therapy. We're going to go through the questions, and then there's a music therapy. And the song is by Casting Crowns called Voice of Truth, which I heard on the radio earlier this week, and I thought I really need to get a video out and get back onto the channel. So check your emotional email. That is our lesson this week. That is what we're working with. Check your emotional email. And then the memory verse we'll get to here in a little bit. So let's jump right into it. We check our email daily. We sort and we sift through incoming messages. Some of the messages are junk and they get deleted. Some emails hold important messages and they require a reply, a response. Some messages show up unexpectedly with information that throws us for a loop. The loop throwers need to be processed a bit slower. We sit and decide how best to respond. Some messages require action. When our email goes unchecked for several days in a row, it becomes a daunting task to catch up. I recently had that last week. I wasn't on my email, and then by Friday night, I was in a very soured mood because I was overwhelmed. I had so much to go through. We enter the swampland of being overwhelmed by information overload. I know I'm not alone. We're all in information overload. We're too connected. We have too much data in our head. In this week's word picture, think of your feelings as an emotional email. Maybe you have unread messages from years ago, emotional email messages from years ago. Messages you've not opened because they require that you deal with something that you had hoped to ignore. Just like an unopened email, unprocessed feelings wait to be read. They're still sitting there when you log back in. They're there. This week, let's purposefully sit and check our emotional email. Ask yourselves questions and read the messages in your feelings inbox. How do you feel? If somebody looked at you and said, "How do you feel?" You'd probably go, "I feel all right. I'm okay." If they really want to press in, they really want to have you process through your feelings. How do you feel? What's bugging you? Where is your anxiety coming from? What is going on inside your heart? What is underneath your pain? What happened that made you feel this way? How intense is that feeling? This is the idea of checking your emotional email. Each feeling is like a message. You can choose to delete an emotional email as if it were a junk message, and that is fine. For example, there may be a feeling of resentment or rejection, and when you examine the message content or the content within that message, you can realize that's a junk message. That's a junk feeling. A phishing scam to catch you in a snare. And your best bet is to acknowledge the receipt of the message and then purposefully decide to place it in the trash folder. Are you angry? Are you resentful? Do you feel rejected? If so, why? Did someone say something that was unkind, unfair, and untrue? Are they phishing? It's phishing, phishing, as in trying to hook you in and take more of your stuff, take more of your time, take more of your resources. In those cases, it's junk mail. It's got to be deleted. You can read, review, and reply and or delete. Also, a message may require action. What does a feeling ask of you? When you feel something, what is it asking? We don't hold on to and respond to every feeling, but leaving unopened messages in your feelings inbox is a one-way ticket to swampland where you will be clogged, overwhelmed, and anxious. Anxiety is actually not a primary feeling in and of itself, but rather, in our metaphor, it is the response to the backlog of unread and unprocessed emotional emails. When you ignore, delete without reading, or respond too quickly to emotional emails, to feelings, you are generating anxiety. Anxiety is the warning message of your emotional email program, which begs you to slow down and really read and review your feelings. The next time you get anxious, if you can, go somewhere private, slow down, and check in with yourself. See what is bugging you. Why are you anxious? Why are you overwhelmed? What's happening? Because anxiety is that secondary emotion. Check your emotional email. Those emotions have something to tell you. Listen closely. You may delete the feeling message without replying, but you need to read the message. You don't want to be ignoring your feelings or shoving them down. You want to feel those feelings and get to the bottom of it. What's behind it? Do you need action? Is there something going on? Some of you may have heard the kind of joke metaphor about feelings are important. If you're a vehicle, they're in the vehicle. They're a passenger in the vehicle, but they can't drive your bus and you can't shove them in the trunk. So you have to feel those feelings and then keep them in check, because feelings aren't facts and no feeling is final. One of the other lessons we'll do later this week says no feeling is final. In that moment, you may have road rage. You may feel so furious with somebody for a false accusation or calling you out on something or cutting you off in traffic or speaking your private business in front of another family member. These are all things that could provoke anger, but you may not want to act in that moment. You may want to hold on to that email, just that emotional feeling, just like you would hold on to an email and say, I got to figure out how I'm going to best reply to that situation. All right, and now under the bottom, under personalize this lesson, think, feel, do, and memorize. Think. Let's think. I am free to process my feelings. This comes down to boundaries. I am free to process my feelings. I am free to respond or delete any feeling messages that I receive. All feelings are messages, but not all feelings, like all messages, require a reply. Feel. I feel powerful when I purposefully sit still and listen to my feelings. I feel competent to respond to my feelings as I choose. 25 years ago, when I was pregnant with my oldest son, Josh, a friend, mentor of my husband and I's told us, that we should spank our kids. Of course, I'm just, pregnant with one who I'm not yet holding. I'm thinking, I'm never going to spank him. And he gave us the advice, when you spank, if you spank and when you spank, don't hit and spank out of anger. Only spank as a consequence that you're dishing out, but don't do it out of anger. And I was like, okay, that sounds brilliant. But then I found that when I wanted to spank my son when he was misbehaving, it was because of anger. So if I waited, it was really hard to spank him. So that idea of letting those first emotions pass and the flush of adrenaline that comes with strong emotions, whether those emotions are on the negative kind of angry side, the hot feelings side of the feelings wheel, or if they're on the cool side where you're feeling depressed, withdrawn, isolated, grieving. So you want to be able to process and read those emotional emails and understand what those feelings are going through, what you are going through. And the action point, do. Acknowledge and explore my feelings. Slow down. Sit with them. Listen carefully. If you're a house and those feelings live in the basement and they're coming up, they're knocking on that cellar door, what are they telling you? They want to be processed. Some of us stuff our feelings down. We get busy. There's addiction behaviors that manifest so that you don't have to feel feelings. All right, and then our memory verse under Check Your Emotional Email says, it's kind of hard with the sunlight, not that we're complaining here in Alaska about the sunlight. This comes from Proverbs chapter 20, verse 5. Counsel in the heart of man is like deep water, but a man of understanding will draw it out. Here in Alaska, we have glaciers, and if you go on a glacier and you walk on a glacier, you'll see these big crevasses, and they're telling you don't step in what you think is a puddle of water because it can actually be so deep. I'm talking 100 to more than 100 feet deep. And usually the glacier guide will have a walking stick, an ice pick, and it will push it down. It's a long stick, and it'll push it down, and it'll show you what looked like a puddle is actually really, really deep. And I think about this proverb when I'm on the glacier, that counsel in the heart of man is like deep water, but a man of understanding will draw it out. So feeling your feelings, going through that. Okay, let's go over to our 4 questions. 1, how backlogged in your emotional email inbox do you feel? And describe it. This week, I'm not so backlogged. Last week, I was backlogged in my actual email, and then I was backlogged in my emotional email. This week, I feel more stable, more sane, more settled. So let me know how you feel down below, or send me a private email on the gracetorecover.com website. Okay, in the space below, write down what is in your emotional inbox. When I did this exercise, what was coming forward in my inbox was I had feelings of guilt and hyper responsibility for some things that when I really chopped it up, they really weren't mine to carry, but that's what was some undercurrent and some snags that I had in there. So get in touch with those feelings. And then like for me, I had to make a phone call to process one with a friend, and then I had to sit with my husband and talk through a situation from the past. Number 3, what is your typical process or pattern of facing and dealing with feelings? My very bestest friend is, and also my husband, who of course is my darling friend too, both husband and friend, she are silent. They've got to process silently and independently. I am the opposite. I want to chat it up, talk it out, be all over the place with the words, but then come to the feelings, processing it. So figure out how you are, and then let the people that are closest to you know. Like my friend will text me, hey, I really need to talk, but I can't today. I'm working through it. I'll call you this weekend. So that's her style. And I appreciate knowing that's it, because otherwise, from my vantage point, it feels like she's blocking me out. It feels like she doesn't want to chat. She won't share. And that feels personally offensive to me until I understand that's how she processes. She needs that time. She needs to really simmer, and chew it up inside before then she can put words around it. And that's fair. And I don't take it personal because it's not about me. And I know that now. Okay. And the last question is, describe your experience with anxiety as a warning message that your emotional inbox, needs attention. And my experience with this is the anxiety is a slow growing snowball. And I don't realize it until it's like a boulder, and I'm like so backlogged with emotions that I need to process everything that I've been experiencing, and the anxiety is a warning flag. It's like a check engine light going off, and I need to sit still. And then the last one is the song, which is The Voice of Truth by Casting Crowns. It's a great song. Check it out. I brought some things to share, to fun things. This is what my son Josh and I found at the Freddie Myers grocery store. Emotional support French fries. Look at these little guys. They're so cute. We were hiding them, throwing them at each other, and then hiding them in each other's rooms and in the shower. He lives in Anchorage, but he was staying with us. So aren't they just so cute? And then my friend, my little sister friend, Natalie, she had given me this emotional support panda. I call her my little pandaroo. And it says, never forget the difference you make. Stay positive. You are always supported and loved. So this little guy has been keeping me company today and making me smile. And she also gave me this little pickle. It's emotional support pickle. It says, I will always be around to let you know you are a big deal. So, all right. Well, you guys stay supported. Check your emotional email. Send me an actual email that you type on the computer. Go to thegracetorecover.com. And thank you for your time and your attention. God bless you, and I'll see you next time.